Hello everyone, I am Nandeesh. Today I am going to discuss about the subject mathematics. Introduction to functions. In the of mathematics, function play a fundamental role acting as building blocks for understanding relationship and patterns. A functions can be visualized as a machine that takes an input, process it according to a specific rule, and then produces an output. This rule dedicates the relationship between the input and output, ensuring that they each input there is only one corresponding output. Functions are in mathematics underpinning a diverse fielding like calculus, algebra, and analysis. Definition of a functions. There are two types: domain and range. The domain of a functions refers to the set of all previsible input values. These values are typically specified in the function definition or determined by the context of the problem. For instance, the domain of the functions f of x is equal to 1 by x. Exclude the value x is equal to 0 as a division by 0 is undefined range. The range of a function encompasses the set of all possible output values which are generated by applying the function's rule to the input values in the domain. For example, the range of the function f of x is equal to x to the power of 2 is all non-negative real numbers, as squaring any real number results in a non-negative value. Domain and range of a functions. Domain restrictions, range limitations. Domain restriction. The domain of a functions can be restricted by a various factors such as the avoiding division by 0, taking the square root of a negative numbers, or ensuring that the function's output remains within a specific interval. This restriction are essential for ensuring that the function is well defined and that is a result or a meaningful in the context of the problem. Range limitation. The range of a functions can be limited by the rule, the specific value of its input, or the function's overall behavior. For instance, quadratic function have a limited range, while linear function have a range that extends infinitely in both positive and negative directions. Steps. First step, choose a scale. Select the appropriate scale for the x and y axis, ensuring that the function's key features are visible and easily interpreted. The scale should be consistent and allow to accurate plotting of the points. Second step, plot points. Calculate the output values of the several input values, choosing a range that covers the function's domain. Plot these points on the coordinate plane. Carefully mark taking their coordinates. Step 3, connecting points. Connect the plotted points with a smooth, ensuring take the functions a behavior properties. Use a role of the tool to ensuring that the curve is accurate and visually appealing. Undoing the operation. The inverse function reverse the operation performed by the original function. If the original function adds to its input, the inverse function subtracted to from the inputs to undo the addition. This undoing process is essential for finding the original input values from the output value. Swapping input and output. The relationship between a functions and inverse can be visualized by swapping the input and output values. If we swap the input and output values for the original function, we obtain the inverse function. This swapping process highlights the symmetry between a function and its inverse. Applications of a functions: physics, engineering, economic physics. Function are used to describe the motion of objects, the flow of energy, and interaction between the particles. For example, function f of t is equal to v e t plus of at over 2 models of a distance traveled by an object moving at a constant velocity v with the acceleration a over time t. Engineering. Functions are used to design, structure, analyze circuit, and control system. For instance, of the functions f of x is equal to k into x represent the force exerted by the spring, where k is spring constant and x is the displacement from the spring equilibrium position. Economics, a function uses a model of supply and demand, analyze the market trends, and predict economic growth. Example functions a f of P is equal to A minus BP represent a demand, a product where A is a interrupt, B is a slope, and P is the price of the product. Thank you for everyone.